colon left quote women's empowerment colon theory and meet dash webinar Control D. Turn off microphone. Your microphone is on.
Hello. Sir, you can get assistance from this
Okay, thank you.
is known as Patra Bhai.
Patra sir, okay.
He knows Udiya very well.
Okay.
You can talk with him.
Okay, well.
हिंदी कोई पढ़ भी और नहीं उड़िया कोई भी
Okay, anyway. Okay, okay.
So ଆପଣ କଣ ଦରକାର ତାଙ୍କୁ କୁହନ୍ତୁ ସେ ଯାଇକି ନେଇ ଆସିବେ ବର୍ତ୍ତମାନ।
ଆସିବେ
ନା ମୁଁ ଏଠି ରୁହେ।
ଆସିବେ
ହଁ ସେ ଏଇଠି ରହୁଛନ୍ତି।
ଏବେ ସେଇଠୁ ଖାଇକି ପଳେଇଲେ ହବ। ନା
ଖାଇକି ଆସିବେ। ସାର୍ କହୁଥିଲେ ଯେ ମିଲ୍ ଆଣିକି ଦେଇଦେବେ
ହଁ ଠିକ ଅଛି ତାହେଲେ ଏମିତି କର ଗୋଟେ କରିଛ ମାନେ ଦିଅ। ଓକେ ସାର୍ ଥ୍ୟାଙ୍କ ୟୁ।
मैडम नमस्कार।
Namaskar, sir. Am I audible?
Yes, madam, you are audible.
Thank you, sir. Sir, shall we start the program?
Yes, namaskar, madam.
Namaskar,
We'll
sir.
wait for a while.
Sir.
We'll wait for a while, ma'am.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Sure, sir.
Respected Senior Regional Director Dr. N.K. Das sir, resource person on the occasion, Dr. Manusmita Mahapatra ma'am, respected Additional Director Dr. S.K. Paningre sir, my esteemed colleague Dr. Prabhat Kumar Jana sir, esteemed participants, dear students, ladies and gentlemen, very good afternoon to all of you. As all of us know, our society since ancient times is the worshipper of women, and it says, Yatra Naryastu Pujyate, Tatra Ramanta Devata. Wherever the women are worshipped, that becomes the abode of the lords, abode of the gods and goddesses. But when we traverse our journey of life in everyday life, we also get contradictions and paradoxes. Whereas we worship women in the temple, worship women in our religious life, in our day-to-day life, we also become a part of the atrocities committed against women in our family, in our society, and in our neighborhood. So it's not a monotonous one-way notion that women are honored in our society or in the world across the globe. It is also that it is both way. Whereas we theoretically worship women, we also want women to be subordinate in our daily life. So that is a big journey for women since the 19th century to the 20th century world, 21st century world. We have seen the different women movements against suppression of women and atrocities committed against women. So we are very privileged to have with us Dr. Manusmita Mahapatra ma'am today with us, who is an expert on gender studies, an expert on corporate social responsibility, migration, and other sociological theories. She is a great practitioner as well as a teacher. So I welcome you, ma'am, to this great platform. And we are here to listen, ma'am, on the theme Women Empowerment Theory and Praxis. So I once again welcome my esteemed participants, my students, and my colleagues from the regional centers and the study centers. I extend my warm welcome to our resource person on the occasion, Dr. Manusmita Mahapatra ma'am. Well, I welcome you, ma'am, and I request my senior colleague, Dr. Santosh Kumar Panigrahi sir, to kindly welcome our esteemed resource person today and our esteemed learners nursing participants. Over to you,
Turn off
Panigrahi sir.
your microphone is on.
Namaskar, sir. Thank you, Nanda, sir. So, it is my pride privilege to welcome our resource person, Dr. Manusmita Mahapatra ma'am. So, dear learners, we are very happy to conduct series of webinar for you. So, because you are getting opportunity to listen different kind of academician across the country, because those academicians are expert in their field. So we are organizing this kind of webinar for our dear learners, because definitely they should not feel that
The
the
national webinar on cold and left quality
distance
power,
education
cold theory and praxis, right
students
document.
should not feel they are not getting exposure in the different field. That's why across the country, I mean the leading academician, you are just inviting them to deliver their lecture in our learners. So definitely our learners will be benefited out of that. IGNOU Regional Center Bhubaneswar is one of the oldest regional center in the country. So RC Bhubaneswar is doing some extraordinary work in different field, like you can say, I mean the student support service, you can say, I mean the activation of the different programs. All the times we are trying to give best to our learners, how our learners will not get any kind of problem. So all the time, all the faculty members, all the staff members, they are trying for give best to our learners. So today we are very much fortunate because Dr. Manusmita Mahapatra, in a very short notice, she joined with us. Give her deliver lecture on women empowerment theory and practices. So thank you, ma'am, to accept our invitation. So I once again I welcome you on behalf of IGNOU, on behalf of Regional Bhubaneswar, on behalf of myself also. Thank you very much, ma'am, to join today's webinar. Thank you once again. Over to Nanda sir.
Control D, your microphone is on.
Nanda sir.
Okay. Okay, I think.
So now I request our colleague Dr. P.K. Jana to kindly introduce today's resource person, Dr. Manusmita ma'am. Over to Jana sir.
Thank you, sir. Good afternoon to everybody and namaskar. Esteemed Senior Regional Director Dr. M.K. Das sir, respected Additional Director Dr. Santosh Kumar Panigrahi sir, respected Deputy Director Dr. Vishnanu sir, respected Resource Person Dr. Manusmita Mahapatra madam, my dear colleagues, my dear dignitaries from the study LSCs, and my dear learners and dear friends. So today's topic is a very burning topic, that is women empowerment, theory and praxis. So I think we have chosen a very good topic, and we have chosen a very good expert in this field. So we'll be happy to listen to her. And before start of this meeting, let me just formally introduce her. Natra Manasmita Mahapatra has done her MA and a PhD in sociology, and currently she teaches sociology at Ravenshaw University, Cuttack. Her broad areas of research and teaching expertise includes industrial sociology, sociological thought, gender studies, development studies, and corporate social responsibility. She has published many research papers in journals of national and international acclaim, including in UGCR listed journals and in Scopus indexed journals. She has contributed research articles in many edited books. She has been a research guide to many MPhil and PhD research scholars. During her professional journey, she has already served as assistant professor and HOD of sociology in GM University, and currently she is working as assistant professor in sociology at Ravenshaw University, Cuttack. So we are very much grateful to her for accepting our invitation, and we are all keen to listen to her. And we hope that all learners will be benefited, as we have received a very good speaker, and the research person is the expert in this field. So once again, I welcome you, madam, and we hope all the learners will enjoy your talk. And in future also, we'll be inviting you and try to cooperate us so that we can have another similar programs with you. Okay. Once again, welcome, madam, and thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Prabhat, for your great introduction. It's now my privilege to invite our today's speaker and resource person, Dr. Manasmita Mahapatra, to kindly deliver her address on women empowerment theory and praxis. I invite you, ma'am, to kindly deliver your speech. Thank you. Ma'am, kindly unmute yourself.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, Nanda, sir. Sir, am I audible, sir?
Yes, you are audible now.
Yes. Thank you, sir. Thank you, Nanda, sir, for giving me this opportunity, inviting Panigrahi, sir, and Prabhat, sir. Thank you so much for introducing me. Esteemed Regional Director of IGNU, MK Das, Dr. MK Das, respected Dr. Santosh Kumar Panigrahi, Additional Director, respected Dr. B.C. Nanda, Deputy Director, and respected Prabhat Kumar Janna, sir, Deputy Director. Thank you for giving this opportunity to give a deliver a lecture on women empowerment. My topic of presentation is empowerment of women, theory and practice. Praxis. I'll try to be brief and as clear as possible. My basic idea would revolve around the notions of gender. It's a cultural construct, and how gender from the prism of empowerment of women is contextualized into specific socio-cultural setting. Mostly the entire talk would be on to decode patriarchy and gender politics in India. It is real empowerment only when through gender sensitizing is involved. So the basic question is Indian society non-hierarchical? Is Indian society still non-discriminatory? The question of women and development, is it real or only rhetoric? To answer this, I have certain statistics that would reveal how such kind of society is still discriminated and society has problems of gender discrimination. If we see, it is mostly female adolescent who drop out. That is 34 million female adolescent are dropouts from school. If we see 2/3 of illiterate people, then from among that majority or the 2/3 are only the females. It is 39% of accessibility to education is given to boys compared to girls. The recent statistics, that is periodic labor force survey 2023 and 24, reveals the male literacy is 87, whereas the female is on 74. In this context, the crime against women, where a rape takes place every half an hour, there is sexual harassment even at workplace, there is also women being kidnapped, women being killed, and most important is very, very common dowry death. In this context, if we see the World Economic Forum, they say that the burden of poverty is more on women than on men. Even the Oxfam report says inequality do exist in the workplace, where women receive 34% less wages than the male counterpart. It is always girls from the families are found to be suffering, where the dropout rate would be 23 million girls and not boys. In India, more girls die than boys. Adolescent is freedom for boys, not for girls. Again, the recent statistics of Gender Gap Index 2025, India ranks only 131 out of 148 countries. And what are the indicators that are used? Very simple indicators: economic participation, educational attainment, political empowerment, health and survival. If all these indicators are seen, then India rank is 131 out of 148 countries. The Global Gender Gap 2025 also shows that women still earn less than men and mostly enroll in informal job. There is structural barrier to political power for women where they are politically underrepresented. The Human Development Index 2025 shows female is 0.631, whereas male is 0.722. Of course, all these statistics reads that India still needs to be gender sensitized. And to give a conceptual clarity to the concept of women empowerment, that is the theory and praxis, I would conceptualize women empowerment under 4 contexts. One is gender discrimination, the second is gender inequality, the third is gender disparity, and the fourth is gender sensitization.
Excuse me, madam. Excuse me, madam. Sorry for interruption. Students, please mute your microphone. In between, Mr. Pradeep Mandas, you are unmuting your microphone. It is disturbing. Please keep your mic. Yes, please. All are requested to keep their microphone mute. Okay. Okay, madam.
Thank you, Pravad sir. So gender discrimination, gender inequality, gender disparity, and gender sensitization. These are the 4 concepts that I would use to bring a background and to contextualize women empowerment. Discrimination, inequality, disparity are not same. Gender discrimination is unequal treatment that we give to boys and girls, whereas gender inequality is the hierarchy that exists, superior, inferior. Disparity is the difference in access to opportunity, whether they are getting the opportunity or they are lacking it. So there are various forms of gender discrimination, parameters of gender inequality, and causes of gender disparity. This would lead to the 4th concept of gender sensitization, and that all these 4 concepts would contextualize women empowerment. Coming or to begin with the forms of gender discrimination, then we'll move to inequality and disparity. The forms of gender discrimination to begin with is sex ratio, which denotes the number of female per 1,000 male. It's adverse for female. It is well below 800 female per 1,000 male. And mostly son preference is the reason. And the states where sex ratio is not at all clear or adjusted is Punjab, Haryana, Gujarat, Maharashtra, and Chandigarh. Secondly, socialization at the family level. How children they see their parents, that also give a dimension or forms of gender discrimination because it begins at home. Children are under socialization. Children are witness to the familial relationship. I mean the relationship between husband and wife. No partnership exists in marriage. It is still a dominant form of social institution. That reflects such kind of socialization impacts the children who learn gender discrimination from the beginning of their life. Thirdly, I would say property. Although rights and existence have been given to women, but it is mostly the men who have got the inheritance thing. Then comes literacy, where we see education is the foundation stone, and even 60% of women literacy has not been achieved. So the scenario is even more precarious when it comes to higher education. Their enrollment, their sustenance, and their dropout is more in case of girls in higher education. Another form of discrimination is health and nutrition. The low sex ratio of women in the country, or the higher mortality rate among children, the higher ratio of malnutrition among girls is observed. Health, medical facilities are mostly given to people in the town area or in urban area. Therefore, the maternal mortality increases and the lifespan is also affected. In case of health and nutrition, we also see in some rural areas, studies have shown that it is the family who also give nutritious food to the boy child and not to the girl child, assuming that the boy child would one day earn and take care of them, whereas the girl child would obviously marry and go to some other house. Why? To waste food for her. Health and nutrition is definitely a form of discrimination, mostly at the family level. Another form is violence against women. As I said, eve teasing, molestation, dowry torture, workplace harassment, female feticide, and prostitution, domestic violence, dowry, death, kidnapping, whatnot. The list goes on for violence against women. Even the National Crime Report Bureau says every 3 minutes in India, a crime takes place against women. Another form of discrimination would be workforce participation. If we see very usual that women engage in informal sector than compared to men. Women's informal sector engagement brings them to the challenges of recruitment. What are the process by which they are recruited? And it also brings a challenge for their tenure. There is no fixation of salary. Again, they become easy victim of sexual exploitation. Another form of discrimination would be political representation. Women occupy 8.9% in Lok Sabha and 7.3% in Rajya Sabha seats, which is again still shows lower participation in the political field. It reflects their attitude, interest. Another form of discrimination is social custom, beliefs, and practices. The social customs itself tell about joint family system, which is very essential component of our village system, that is patrilineal, and the domestic sphere that itself shows the customs and belief practices towards women. There is always a preference for son, and daughters are liabilities under the social customs and beliefs. Therefore, custom says giving birth to a male child would definitely lead people to go to heaven. And the beliefs and practices automatically shows more number of superstitions, superstitious belief system coming towards women. Another form of discrimination is lack of awareness about empowerment to women itself. There are basic rights and capabilities which women themselves do not know what they deserve. They accept all form of discriminatory practices because they do not understand what they deserve. Article 15, of course, exists under Indian Constitution, which shows there should not be any discrimination. But women themselves are unaware of many rights that they have. They can ask for. But if they give a say, if they give an opinion, or if they are opinionated women, they are constructed as bad women. Another form of discrimination is the social attitude. Social attitude, especially in rural masses, there is attitudinal disparities. We see if a woman is a barren woman, she is a bad woman. A woman is a divorcee, she is a bad woman. A woman is a spinster, she is a bad woman. A woman can only be complete having husband and children. It may be that children are not obeying her and husband is too patriarchal. But what matters is that only makes a woman complete. That kind of social attitude brings marginalization and more amount of attitudinal disparity towards rural women and tribal women. It also matters to modern women who want self-independence, who is definitely self-opinionated. And that all is not accepted in Indian society, having an attitudinal problem. These are the basic forms of discrimination. And then we move to the indicators or parameters of inequality, gender inequality. When gender discrimination talks about the treatment, gender inequality talks about the hierarchy that exists. This hierarchy can be measured by many ways, and few of the parameters would be sex segregation in families and workplace. Like how women is facing the problem of sex segregation in the families. Men will be in certain group, women will be in another group. There is no free mixing of gender in mostly rural areas in families. Also, it is now seen in workplace. So the sex segregation in families and workplace can be one of the parameters of judging gender inequality. There is again another parameter is earning differentiation. If it is formal sector, it is a bit safety for women. If it is informal sector, again the problem lies with the tenure and the form of recruitment for the woman to that job. That earning difference exists between men and women, be that wages and less to salaries. Another parameter can be split labor market, where market or e-market, all these are technology, all these are easily accessible and available to men, whereas women lag behind learning those e-marketization. So split labor market shows women lag behind in this labor force participation, whereas men are more. Another parameter can be disparity in security coverage. The security coverages is more better for men than for women. Even security at a daily life for a woman becomes difficult. So what kind of empowerment you will expect from a woman when she is afraid of moving out of her house after 6 p.m.? Of course, it varies with place to place, but the security coverage, or even if the so-called existence of many protection spheres exist, but it doesn't come easily to accessible to women, and especially women in rural areas. There is also parameter like sectoral distinction, where women are more into public and men into private. It is also parameter can also come as glass ceiling. Glass ceiling means how woman is unable to move up in the social ladder, whereas men can go in the corporate ladder, irrespective of her qualification. It is mostly job related, where the glass ceiling exists and a woman is finding many hurdles for not being able to move up in the corporate ladder or to gain the status that men hold. That is an obstruction to women's career. These all can be considered as gender inequality parameters. Of course, more are also there. Coming to the third, that is gender disparity. The first was the treatment. Second was mostly the inequality hierarchy, and the third is access. Accessibility to education, accessibility to health, accessibility to basic minimum requirement. That creates disparity. So gender disparity mostly begins with the concept that sons are taken as assets in the family and daughter as liabilities. It also comes when educated women are also found not to come up with the innovative ideas, become entrepreneurs, or in that case for higher education. The structure of Indian society itself is patriarchal, which talks about gender stereotyping. Stereotyping, of course, is things or traits that are rigidly found in the behavior of men and women. Like men or boys are associated with blue color, dark color. Girls are associated with pink and yellow color. This thing also reflects when we give toys to the boys at a very young age. They are given Hot Wheels, playing things, and girls are given Barbie dolls or kitchen utensils. This stereotyping makes them to build up an idea that women are weaker, not assertive, not strong, compared to men who are assertive, strong, ambitious, and dominant. Stereotyping instills to the children from the beginning, and they are rigid kind of behavior that a male and female instills from the beginning. Such disparity can be socio-economic form, which is reflected in sex ratio, which is reflected in maternal mortality rate, which is also reflected in malnutrition, in educational literacy rates, again in gender-based violence. Economic disparity can be observed in employment, where 2021-22 report says 32.8% female are in the working age group, where 15 years in the labor workforce. Or the ILO, which says women mostly do not get high paying jobs. There is also wage gap, which also reflects economic disparity. Political disparity, they are underrepresentation in the parliament and representation in the local panchayat. Sometimes they hold post, but it is proxy post. They take all advices from male and do all decisions by taking from male. But they hold the post for name's sake. Such kind of disparity also exists in Indian society. These all discrimination, inequality, disparity further brings the necessity of understanding the concept on gender sensitization, which is very much an integral component of empowerment of women. Gender sensitization is the process by which awareness is raised on gender equality. It is not only getting the awareness, it is also changing people's attitude. It is also by addressing issues of gender inequality and the agencies. There exist many agencies of socialization or agencies of gender sensitization, such as family, social media, school, peer group, the Center for Women, NGOs, corporates. But is it that gender sensitization is already done? No. The answer is no. In Indian society, we have gender sensitization programs being introduced in schools, colleges, in other educational spheres, so that from the beginning children will understand how to discriminate or to get at least basic awareness about women and men. This is sensitizing. Example of gender sensitization links somehow to gender stereotyping. Where in gender sensitization, we sometimes train girl child to talk soft, to be soft, be nurturous. You need to learn to cook. All these things are given to girl child. That does not bring any kind of empowerment in her mind from the beginning. Rather, it creates an inequality, a sign, inequality differentiates between men and women or boy and the girl. Gender sensitizing can also come with some games or counselings. Like very small girl who is very innocent and does not know. Just example, just go and she's just running, sitting on her friend's lap, brother's friend. She doesn't know the difference in good touch and bad touch. That training to the child, maybe at the age of 5, to a girl, to bring her a basic understanding of good touch and bad touch, appreciating the intentions of touching, would definitely bring some kind of sensitization. Recently, 2 days back also, we heard the news of 5-year girl being gang-raped. Of course, sensitizing is the duty of parents, relatives, and others. Most of the sexual harassment has started or begun only in the family, inside the family members and relatives. That brings the role of counselors. Counselors have nowadays also become more active compared to earlier, where counselors, if a small girl is assumed to be sexually harassed, counselors, they take 2 dolls and just they hold the 2 dolls and ask the child just to explain what has happened to you. And the child holds the doll and put it like this to show I have been touched and badly touched. So such dramatization can also bring gender sensitization. Of course, counselors are playing a role in moving such moralistic attitude and
Excuse me, ma'am. Ma'am, excuse me, ma'am.
Yes, sir.
Ma'am, your voice is breaking.
Is it audible now, sir?
No.
Shall I join the link once again?
Just continue.
Sir, shall I join the link once again?
Now it is all right. Continue.
Is it okay, sir?
Yes, it's okay.
Okay.
Continue.
Thank you, sir.
Okay.
Thank you, Santosh, sir. So this, when the counselors have come to play a role, bringing some dolls to explain to children how they have been victim of bad touch or good touch, and that counselors bring 2 dolls and all like this to explain, to give the children what has happened to you.
Just Goldie, your microphone is on.
Ma'am, you are not audible. Ma'am, you are not audible. Calling minus GNU mobile. Madam, you are not audible. Hello.
Students, there is some technical problem. Please wait. Madam will be joining soon. Actually, there is some technical issue. That is why we are unable to hear his voice. So please be online.
Sir, is it audible?
Yes, madam. What is audible now? Okay, please
Uh,
continue.
Yes, sir. So shall I continue?
Yes, please.
Thank you, sir.
Okay.
So, I was telling of gender sensitization and how this concept of gender sensitization brought the role of the counselors in it. How counselors have come and they have what that understanding of sensitizing among young bad touch because the objective
Again, your sound is cutting.
Actually, your voice is breaking again, madam.
It's not
is
fully
not
audible.
counselor?
And actually, there is a breaking of voice.
Is it not, sir?
Yes, ma'am, you are audible.
No, audible, but our voice is breaking.
Your voice is not fully audible.
Ma'am,
It
ma'am, please switch up your so that your voice will be audible.
sir, shall I click again?
Please switch up your camera, ma'am.
Ma'am, I think you have network problem.
You have
Yes,
network
yes.
problem, so please switch up your camera.
Yeah, there may be some network problem, so you can switch off your video and you can continue.
Sir, is it now audible?
Yes,
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 it is
audible.
audible.
Oh, okay, sir. Okay. The objective of gender sensitization is to make young boys and girls gender sensitive and to create a positive values that support the girls' rights. Also, gender sensitization can be seen in movies like Queen movie where Kangana Ranaut has got national award, where in that movie they try to show the gender sensitization that how women who were once been portrayed to be very obedient or to be very fearful about the villains and very obedient to heroes, it shows the woman's right to be chosen. That it is not that others can choose her, but she holds complete right what she decides, what she wants. In the movie, it is shown that initially she was very shy and rural based behavior where she was not modern and the boy rejected her. Slowly, when she groomed up herself to be modern, and now when the man has returned back to his life, she is not bothered. So that shows about the storyline where the Indian society where they want to portray that women are now least bothered about that. Women are more sensitized to have their own opinion and say. Even movies like Lajja, where we see that the traditional marriage system of the mandap scene, very famous the mandap scene, which is mostly by Manisha Koirala, where they show that it is the woman who was sitting in the mandap and the in-laws had come with all sense of dowry, with all sense of asking money that you look like this, pay a little bit more, you don't have this quality, so pay a little more, and they went on adding the dowry price. A time came when the girl stood up. She was Mahima Chaudhary in the film that she is portrayed, and she told, I am not interested to give money and sell myself, and my father and mother are crying standing there and watching you people who have just come here not to give me a life, not to give me a new life after marriage, but to take all the money by exploitation. So she there stands for the famous dialogue that whatever you are wearing, starting from your body till your relatives, till your sari, till your underwear, everything is given by my father. This is how the girl takes a stand and rejects the marriage. She scolds the husband that you are the first person to move out. You should move out from the place. It is because you have not come to marry me, but you are just making a bargaining about my money. So that Lajja film in Mahima Chaudhary also being portrayed in such a way where sensitizing women that it is not the men's right and the in-laws to come and bargain you in the mandap, but it is the girl's wish that she will stand, she will scold the mother-in-law. She used a dialogue that it is good that I didn't marry in your house. Otherwise, you would have died with the gas leakage and not me. बहू नहीं जलती है, पहले सास जलना चाहिए था. This is how she has been portraying the role of woman, which has changed. And that sensitizing movies, we have Dirty Picture as well. There are a list of movies which are trying to give that kind of training. Slogans were already existed for gender equality, and those slogans are now been basic objective of movies, that is women-centric movies. In this concept of coming down to this discrimination, disparity, and inequality and gender sensitization, here the women empowerment is contextualized. The empowerment concept is contextualized, telling that it's a process of enabling women to gain control over their life, and it is about autonomy, resources, and power. And the women have make own choices to participate. Even the United Nations defines this empowerment process by the concept that women become aware of gender-based unequal power relationship and speak out against the inequality. ILO focuses on promoting capacity building for women empowerment, accessibility to resources, equality and respect in the working conditions, promoting and strengthening women's development organizations, and improving the socio-economic conditions, making men aware of the significance of women's life. This ILO focusing on women empowerment also emphasizes or conceptualizes this. Therefore, the key components of women empowerment would be briefly economic independence, education, agency and self-confidence, rights and safety, self-worth, access to resources and opportunities, mobility, social and political inclusion. These components of women empowerment has been theorized in the form of gender and development. It has a background of feminism, which tells the advocacy of women's right based on their sexes, which is feminism, which is defined as the advocacy of women's right based on their sexes. There are many waves or origin or historical stages of this feminism. First wave, second wave, third wave. Where we see first wave is mostly on property rights, second wave is mostly on the reproductive right, and the third wave mostly tells about interpretation of gender and sexuality. This brings the awareness of the concept of gender and development in women empowerment. Gender and development has two approaches, which is theorized to have two approaches: welfare approach, development approach. Of course, welfare approach came first, which is criticized, and then came development approach. Welfare approach focuses on women and development, women in development. That is WAD, WID. WAD, WID together constitute welfare approach because women here are only passive recipients. This was criticized, and that led to the development of the second approach, that is development approach, where women are no more or no longer only recipients but active participants. Welfare approach, when they talk about WAD, that is women in development, they want to include women's projects, mainstreaming, changing domestic roles, because we have, as I said, we have many kinds of feminism: liberal feminism, radical feminism, socialist feminism. And this liberal feminism, mostly they talk about removing the traditional role. That comes as women and development, where there is a requirement of change in the domestic role, inclusion of women's project and family planning program. Whereas WID, that is women in development, they come with sexual division of labor in villages. They come with development projects like UNDP policies meant for women. This WID, women in development, brings equity approach, that is developmental benefit to be equally redistribution of resources without gender gap. Anti-poverty approach and efficient efficiency approach. Efficiency means it is bringing women into people-centric development, where women do take part in its own self-development. However, this entire welfare approach has been criticized, making it a position of women only to be receivers and not to participant. Development approach emerged after that. Development approach came in 1980s, where it is now gender mainstreaming, where gender development has brought a change, active participants, and there comes direct inculcation of empowerment of women. It is mostly, there are many aspects of empowerment of women in this development approach, which tells about broadly 4 things. 1, assets. 2nd, knowledge and know-how. 3rd, willpower. 4th, capacity. This only brings real empowerment in the true sense of the term. There are various models that theorize women empowerment. If we see Sarah Long model, that brings 4 contexts: welfare, access, conscientization, participation. Welfare is about basic material needs that the women have or should get. Access is the land, labor, credit, and marketing. Conscientization tells about the gender role which needs to be changed, stereotyping changed. 4th, participation, that is decision making in policies. We also have Roland's idea of theorizing women empowerment, which has 4 terms: power from within, power to, power over, and power with. Power from within, it tells about the consciousness and the desire to change. Power to remove the hierarchy first. Power over, which brings a change in the resource distribution. And power with, it is the collective action that helps women. These immediate labels theorizing women empowerment is only becomes important when women themselves, they take participation in that. Therefore, as I said, there are various measurements of women empowerment. And this recent GDI, Gender Development Index, and Gender Empowerment Measure, these are all indicators to judge empowering women. Gender Development Indicator is mostly about the gender gap that is judged in life expectancy, education, and income. And this focuses on expansion of capability of women. We have 155 countries enrolled in it. And the 3 indicators that this development index use is health, education, economic resources, where India stands 131 rank out of 148 country in 2025. Gender empowerment measure, however, is the other tool, which is mostly for political and economic forum. And this 109 countries has participated in this organization. It is using of those capability to have not only have an access to resources, but also utilization of resources. Mostly the parameters are, as I said, economic and political. So the parameters are parliament seat, proportion of legislature, female to male income. This brings the concept of gender budgeting and auditing. Budgeting is, let me make it clear, budgeting is not to allocate separate budget for women. It is analysis of government budget and its differential impact on women. How differential impact has brought to men and women. That reflects gender mainstreaming. It's a mechanism of mainstreaming. Similarly, gender auditing tells about how the mainstreaming policies and documents are institutionalized at the organization level. That, again, are the components of empowerment of women. But many factors in Indian society are responsible for empowerment of women. Until unless gender discrimination is checked, educational factor is open, changes in women's attitude themselves,
active participation of Ministry of Development of Women and Child, mass media bridging the transformation. Because at the end, the impact of women empowerment on India would be very, very high. It would bring development and holistic kind of development. It would bring to solve the unemployment. It would definitely bring social justice and social cultural importance by making inclusion, social inclusion, peaceful society, health and education, workforce participation, and increased innovation. Therefore, these challenges has to overcome, bringing some dimensions to women empowerment. We have social dimension, economic dimension, political, legal, psychological, technological, cultural, and safety dimension. These changes has to be brought at the grassroots level in India to all the dimensions. Coming to the social dimension, which includes education, discrimination, health, nutrition, awareness of rights. Coming to the economic dimension, not only economic opportunity, but wages, workplace rights, entrepreneurship, and ownership of assets. Political dimension, parliamentary representation, and leadership role in local government. Legal dimension, laws that would protect violence against women, property inheritance, access to legal aid. Psychological, that leads to self-esteem, self-confidence, self-efficacy, and sense of autonomy. Technological, which brings digital empowerment, digital feminism, digital literacy, online access to online services. Cultural empowerment, breaking the stereotypes, widows, divorces, and spinsters are incomplete women. Removing such stereotypes. Bringing women into sports and media representation. Safety, security, empowerment that helps for protection against violence, making fast-track helplines. These all are the various dimensions where theorizing women's empowerment can inculcate ideas of freedom. And of course, to conclude, I would bring certain awareness laws that have already been existed, many laws, but I would focus on very few which are very, very essential. That is the right of children to free and compulsory education, because dropout rate is more. That is in 2009 Act. Criminal Law Amendment Act 2013, because every 3 minutes crime against women takes place. The Protection of Women from Domestic Violence Act 2005, where rural women think husband beating and battering is normal. The Dowry Prohibition Act 1961, where still last week also we got news on dowry death. The Representation of Women Prohibition Act 1986, Sexual Harassment of Women at Workplace 2013 Act, Prohibition of Child Marriage Act 2006, Equal Remuneration Act 1976. These, along with these acts, government initiatives would definitely help. Government schemes, Beti Bachao, Beti Padhao 2015, one-stop center. We have Women 24 Hours Helpline. We have Swadhar Griha scheme for rehabilitation of destitute women. We have Ujwala scheme for rescuing trafficking women. Rashtriya Mahila Kosh, Working Women Hostel, and many more. These all would bring some amount. And of course, the question that I asked in the beginning, is Indian society still non-discriminatory, or is the society non-hierarchical? These all are answers to it. Thank you very much. Thank you very much for inviting me for a talk on women empowerment. I'm very thankful to Bimal sir for giving me this phone call, for this opportunity, to Santosh sir, to Prabhat sir, and Dr. M.K. Das sir. Thank you very much for giving me this opportunity.
Your microphone is, there are no edit boxes on this
Thank
page.
you, ma'am. It was a nice deliberation.
Camera is
It
off.
was a nice juxtaposition of theory and praxis, and we are very fortunate that we could listen to you today, and I'm quite optimistic that our learners and participants would gain a lot from your address today, and I now open the floor for discussion. If there is any query, any suggestion, any opinion, we can put forth on the floor. I think there is no query, so I would request my colleague Dr. S.K. Panigrahi sir to offer the formal vote of thanks. Over to you, Panigrahi sir.
Thank you, Nanda sir. So I'm really extremely glad to extend my heartfelt thanks to our resource person, Dr. Manusmita Mahapatra ma'am, because out of her busy schedule, no doubt, she is one of the excellent academician and also good human being. So she accepted our invitation and delivered his presentation to our learners. So definitely our learners has immensely benefited out of her presentation. So thank you, ma'am. I mean, for your deliberation and for your elaboration to our learners. Thank you very much once again, Dr. Mahapatra ma'am. And also, I thanks my all the colleagues. I mean, especially our senior director, Dr. M.K. Das, because of his brainchild, we are organizing this kind of series of webinar for our learners. Thank you, sir, for your guidance and support to us. And also, I extend my heartfelt thanks to my fellow colleague, Dr. Bimal Chandra Nanda, because sir is always trying to rejuvenate all of us to conduct this kind of webinar. Also, I extend my heartfelt thanks to Dr. P.K. Ganna. Last but not least, our learners. Without you, it cannot be successful, and we are organizing this webinar for you only. So I request all of you kindly join in more number and listen to our resource person. Thank you very much. Thank you once again to all of you.
Thank you and namaskar.
Okay. Okay. Thank you, madam. Thank you very much. Okay, so thank you everybody, and now the meeting is over.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir and ma'am.
ये कौन सा क्लास चल रहा था?
Thank you so much, ma'am.
हेलो फ्रेंड्स, ये कौन सा क्लास चल रहा था अभी?